And it strikes me that leaders need to do three things. First of all, we need to demonstrate trust in our people. Now, at a time when things are tough, a time when we're getting increasingly anxious because we don't know the rules and business is so volatile, at a time when our instinct is to command and control and keep it tighter and micromanage, is the very time we need to show trust and let people expand into their roles and take a step back. There's research to suggest that trust is one of the highest generators of productivity. In a world where 70% of global assets are intangible assets, reputation, human capital, intellectual capital, at a time when 70% of our assets are intangible and they're all about the people, never has it been more important to build a new form of trust with our employees. I want to give you the example of Netflix, because I think they're doing something really interesting. Netflix, okay, is a West Coast, new, fresh organization that has grown up and is doing incredibly well. And what they recognized was that as they got bigger, they started to put more rules in place. They started to try and control more hierarchies, process, policies, trying to keep the organization safe because they didn't know everybody anymore. And they made a conscious decision that that was the worst thing that they could do and that they would start dismantling those rules. They wouldn't put in place a rule because somebody, someone, somewhere had done something bad once and therefore they wanted to protect the organization. What I call this lowest common denominator behavior approach. And we see it so often. People are nervous because they don't want a repeat of this one behavior, so they put in place a rule that alienates everybody to get to that 0.0001% or that one person. What Netflix did was they said, no, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to show our people we trust them. So they took away the expenses policy and they said, if you believe in your heart that is the right thing to do to claim that expense, go ahead and claim it. And their expenses went down. They took away the leave policy and they said, if you think that actually you deserve to go on holiday, take the leave. It wasn't abused and in fact actually it went down. What it did do was create an environment of trust, of motivation, of productivity, of releasing people. Now, it sounds counterintuitive. It sounds that actually this could be chaos, and we're not talking about leaving the organization anarchic and unprotected. Clearly we're not. But what I am talking about is by showing that you trust people, by looking at those rules that you've put in place that you think are about keeping you safe, what is that actually doing? What is that really doing to the relationship with your people? And what could you do by taking a step back and freeing them? So trust them. It's amazing what productivity, motivation you get. The second thing that I've observed great leaders doing is that they know their people. I just think the whole HR industry has grown up around selling us psychometric assessments, appraisals, succession planning, talent management processes. There's been a whole industry has grown up. And yet, the great leaders that I met did not rely on those, but really knew their people. Knows them like an army captain knows his regiment. Knows them like a football manager knows his squad. A real insight into them as human beings. Now, we're growing up now in an environment where we have organizations, consumer organizations that can tell us so much about how we behave as consumers. There's apparently a supermarket in the States called Target that if you buy a selection of these 25 products that they sell, you're pregnant. And sometimes they can tell even before you can. I don't know what's in there. It's more like zinc tablets or something like that. But so the Tesco Club card, an algorithm set to die for, just genius, because it actually was able to predict human behavior, predict customer buying pattern behavior, and therefore could target you. What do we have as employers? the annual engagement survey. The annual engagement survey, which we spend 3 months trying to get right. We need more questions, we need less questions. It's not a good time for me to do it because actually I'm doing a round of redundancies over here, so I won't do it yet. Then it takes us another 3 months to analyse it. And by the time it comes out to us, what does it tell us? More pay, better learning and development, better line management, better communication. Every single survey I have ever done says exactly the same thing. There is no replacement for really knowing your people. And the great leaders I've worked with did. They knew them.